Okay, so get ready because we are diving into a real-life mystery today.
Ooh, I love a good mystery.
This one has it all.
Lay it on me.
A missing journalist,
Okay.
corporate secrets,
Always juicy.
and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
So, picture this, right? You're a reporter, you're in the heart of New York City, and you're passionate about exposing the truth.
Sounds like the life.
That's Emma.
Okay, Emma.
But, and here's where it gets tricky, this time, her pursuit of justice might have led her into some seriously dangerous territory.
Oh, that's never good.
No, it's not.
You said answer questions. You weren't kidding.
Nope.
So what makes this case, what makes it so different?
Well, it really shines a light on, like, this hidden world
Yes.
of investigative journalism.
Right.
Where the stakes are crazy high.
Yeah, I mean, you hear stories,
Right.
but to actually see it play out,
Exactly.
that's got to be something else.
So our sources are telling us that Emma was working on this big story,
Right.
but she was being super secretive. Oh, interesting.
Which was really not like her at all.
That is a red flag.
And that's immediately what set off alarm bells for her colleague and close friend Mark.
Right, so Mark's our, like, entry point into the story.
Yeah. I mean, you can almost feel his concern growing as we go through the sources.
So if Emma's usually pretty open, why the sudden secrecy? What do you think was going on there?
I mean, there are a couple of possibilities, right? Maybe she was worried about putting her sources in danger.
Makes sense, especially if they were, like, insiders.
Or maybe she just sensed that this particular story, was way more dangerous.
Like she was stepping into something she couldn't quite grasp yet.
Exactly.
Ugh, that's unsettling.
Yeah, and then things get even worse.
Oh, no.
Emma goes completely silent.
Silent like how?
No answer to calls.
Okay.
Her apartment's empty.
Oh, that's not good.
Her car's gone.
Like, totally vanished.
Totally vanished.
Okay, this is way past just being secretive now.
Right. So naturally, Mark starts to worry, starts digging into what happened. Makes sense. I mean, they were close.
And he finds her notebook.
The reporter's best friend.
And inside, there's this one name that jumps out.
Okay.
Global Mining Co.
Global Mining Co. I feel like I've heard that name before.
You definitely have their massive.
Right. Aren't they like a multinational corporation?
Huge. And they have a reputation
Oh, no. What kind of reputation?
for being very protective of their image.
Uh-oh, this is not looking good.
So, I mean, when Mark sees that name, it's like everything clicks.
Like Emma stumbled onto something way bigger than anyone expected.
Exactly.
Okay, but now I'm curious, what kind of journalist takes on like a corporate giant?
Emma, she had this knack for, like, uncovering financial inconsistencies.
Oh, so she was one of those. She could smell a bad deal a mile away.
From a mile away, she was that good.
Okay, so that's probably what led her to global mining in the first place.
Probably.
Because, like, let's be real, a lot of investigative journalism, it comes down to following the money.
Oh, absolutely.
You find the weird stuff in the finances, you usually find the real story.
And Emma, she was the queen of finding that weird stuff.
So, what happens next? Mark finds the name. What's he do with it?
So, he does what any good journalist would do.
He starts digging.
Oh, yeah, he calls up Sarah, another colleague.
Okay, so now it's a team effort,
They grab Emma's notebook and head to that address she had written down.
hoping for some answers, I bet.
But our sources, they don't tell us what they found there.
Come on, that's such a tease.
I know, right? It just makes you wonder, what did they walk into?
Seriously, did they find a witness or evidence?
Or was it something even more sinister?
Don't leave me hanging.
Okay, while Mark and Sarah are out there searching, let's rewind for a second.
Yeah.
Let's step into Emma's shoes.
So we're going back in time.
A little bit.
Gotcha.
So from the sources, it's super clear that she suspected Global Mining Co. was up to no good.
Right. She wouldn't have been digging otherwise.
And she was determined to expose them.
That's Emma.
That's Emma.
But this is what gets me, like this drive, this need to expose the truth. Where does that come from?
It's hard to say, you know? For some journalists, it's this, like, deep sense of justice.
Like they can't stand to see the little guy get trampled.
And they believe in the power of truth to hold the powerful accountable.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Emma, she definitely had that.
So she's digging through these financial statements,
Late into the night.
trying to find like the needle in the haystack.
Exactly. And she
and
does.
find something.
She finds all these financial discrepancies.
Okay, so we're talking like,
Things that point to a deliberate attempt to hide the truth.
so it's not just like sloppy bookkeeping. This is intentional.
It's intentional.
Wow.
And, Emma, with her skills, she knew exactly what she was looking at.
So she's got the inconsistencies, but that's not enough, right?
Not for Emma.
She needs proof, like hard evidence.
Yeah, something concrete.
So what'd she do?
She decides to get photographic evidence.
Ooh, risky.
Oh, yeah, super risky.
But, like, sometimes you gotta go for it, right?
Sometimes you do, especially if you're Emma.
So she's sneaking into, like, office buildings late at night.
Hoping to capture those incriminating photos.
Okay, but, like, this is real danger territory, right?
Oh, yeah, the stakes are high.
What if she gets caught?
I mean, we don't know the full extent of what global mining is capable of.
Right, but it can't be good.
But she gets the photos.
She does.
She does, and she makes a narrow escape.
That's our girl.
But you can tell from the sources she's shaken up.
Yeah, bet that's gotta mess with you.
This isn't just a story anymore, it's personal now.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
Meanwhile,
Okay, back to Mark and Sarah.
back to Mark and Sarah, they're still following Emma's trail.
Determined to find her.
Oh, yeah, and they reach out to one of Emma's old sources.
Smart move, using her network.
And this source drops a name,
Who is it?
Mr. Reiner, the CEO of Global Mining Co.
Oh, wow, so they're going straight to the top.
Yep, and the source tells them that Emma, she was convinced that Reiner was hiding something big.
Of course he is. He's the CEO.
Right, and sources, they're the lifeblood of investigative journalism.
Oh, absolutely. Without them, you've got nothing.
So Mark and Sarah, they now have a new lead, right?
They're going after Rainer.
They arrange a meeting.
Bold move.
And they try to question him
Aye,
about
aye.
Emma's disappearance and, his company's activities.
Oh, he's gonna love that.
But he's evasive, cold, denies knowing anything about Emma or her investigation.
Typical stonewalling.
The classic Stonewall.
But it just makes you wonder, what are they hiding?
Right. I mean, it just makes you think, how deep does this go?
And is Emma's disappearance even connected?
And that's what Mark and Sarah have to figure out.
Okay, I am hooked. What happens next?
So Rainer just, walks away.
Ugh, classic power move.
But it just makes Mark and Sarah more suspicious.
Oh, yeah, that kind of behavior just screams guilty.
So they're more determined than ever to get to the bottom of this.
I mean, they're not just doing this for the story anymore, right?
It's personal now.
Exactly. It's about Emma.
Meanwhile, Emma's investigation, it was heating up too.
Okay, back to Emma.
Yeah, but she's getting frustrated.
What's that?
She's got all this circumstantial evidence.
Right, the financial discrepancies?
But she needs that smoking gun.
The thing that brings the whole house of cards down.
Exactly, and the pressure's building.
Yeah, I can imagine. The clock's ticking. She's in danger.
So she decides to take a risk.
What does she do?
She follows Rainer.
Okay, but, how do you even follow a CEO?
She's resourceful.
I bet she is.
And she manages to track him to this cafe.
So she's hoping to overhear something, I guess.
And that's when she sees it.
Sees what?
A mysterious folder.
Oh, this is good.
Changing hands, hushed whispers about a deal.
So, classic spy stuff.
Basically.
But this is real life. Emma's not playing around.
No, she's not. And in that moment, she knows she has to act.
So she confronts Rainer.
Right outside the cafe.
Whoa, that's bold.
She doesn't have concrete proof yet, but she's going with her gut.
Which is probably screaming, danger, danger, danger.
But Emma, she's always been fearless.
Okay, but confronting a CEO like that, that's got to be risky, right?
Super risky, but sometimes you gotta go for it.
Especially when you're this close to the truth. And while all this is happening, Mark and Sarah, they decide to make a move too.
Oh, what do?
They infiltrate a press event at Global Mining headquarters.
They're going into the lion's den.
I know, it's crazy, but they use the chaos to sneak into Rainer's office.
Talk about a high-stakes gamble.
And what they find? It's huge.
What is it?
Documents outlining all these shady financial transactions.
So they found the proof.
It's all there, pointing to a massive cover-up.
Wow, but this is breaking and entering, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely illegal.
So they're risking a lot here.
Everything.
But they get the documents.
They manage to escape with them just as security's closing in.
That was a close one.
They're getting closer to the truth, but the danger, it's just escalating. The closer you get, the hotter the fire, right?
And meanwhile, Emma, she's starting to unravel.
What do you mean?
She's getting paranoid, feels like she's being watched.
I mean, if I was in her shoes, I'd be freaking out too.
Right. And then it gets even worse.
Oh no, what happens?
2 men show up at her door,
Men she doesn't know.
doesn't recognize, and they force their way in.
Oh my God, this is terrifying.
And that's where our sources go silent.
Wait, so we don't know what happens to Emma?
Not yet, but it's clear that she's in serious danger.
This is way bigger than just a missing persons case now.
This is straight out of a thriller.
And it's real. That's the scary part.
It's a reminder of what journalists, especially investigative journalists, They risk everything to expose the truth.
That's a dangerous job.
But just when it seems like all hope is lost,
There's a break in the case.
Mark and Sarah get a call,
From who?
another journalist,
Okay.
who recognized Emma's car.
Abandoned.
Abandoned in a small town,
Yeah.
miles outside the city.
So maybe she just left, took off.
That's what the police think.
But
Mark, he refuses to believe it.
he knows Emma better than that.
He knows she wouldn't just disappear.
So they go to the down.
They do, desperate for any clue that could lead them to her.
And they find something.
They talk to a local
Okay.
who remembers seeing Emma,
Doing what?
asking about land.
Land owned by.
Global Mining Co.
Of course.
So they follow this lead, and it takes them to the edge of town, a rundown, abandoned warehouse.
That sounds creepy.
And that's the last known location in Emma's trail.
So what's in the warehouse? Is Emma in there?
I guess we'll find out. It's like all roads have led to this warehouse.
It's giving me chills just thinking about it.
Right. It's like the culmination of everything.
Yeah, like all the threads of the story, they all come together here.
Emma's investigation, Mark and Sarah's search, global mining.
Looming in the background the whole time.
And Mark and Sarah,
They're walking into a situation where the truth
the truth could be dangerous.
or deadly, even
But they don't even hesitate.
it makes you think. Like, what would you do?
Right. What would make you take that kind of risk?
I mean, think about it. They're doing all of this
For a friend?
for the truth.
For justice, maybe?
It's powerful stuff.
And our sources, they don't tell us what happens next.
Oh, come on. Don't leave us hanging.
I know, right? But they leave us with this, like, feeling of unease.
Like the story's not over.
Yeah, like something's still out there.
I guess that's kind of how it is with these things sometimes.
Real life, it doesn't always have a neat ending.
No, it doesn't. And sometimes the truth, it's hard to find.
Or maybe the truth is too dangerous.
And sometimes the story just ends.
Before we get all the answers.
It's frustrating, but it's real.
So what can we take away from all of this?
I mean, we've seen, like, firsthand,
The dedication, the courage that
Technology.
come with investigative journalism,
Emma's story. It's a reminder that there are people out there,
fighting for the truth, even when it's hard.
even when it's dangerous.
And it reminds us that the truth matters.
It does.
This deep dive, it's been like a journey
Into a world of secrets,
of risks.
of people who won't back down.
And we've seen how those worlds, they collide.
And sometimes the impact, it's felt far beyond those directly involved.
But in the end, it leaves us with a question.
A big one.
How far would you go?
To shine a light on the darkness.
That's something to think about.
Is. And as we wrap up here,
Remember Emma's story
remember the importance of truth.
and the people who risk everything to bring it to light.
Because sometimes that's all we have.
That's all we have.